saying that it feels like the end.
Geordie Journo's back at St James's Park and back with another win. 8 in a row for Newcastle United.
Yeah.
Didn't make easy work of it, particularly not in the first half, but through to the fourth round of the FA Cup with a 3-1 win against Bromley. Jordan, your thoughts?
My thoughts, well, I thought it was a really disappointing first half.
Yeah.
9 changes before the game, opportunities for a lot of those players in that start 11. You go for the team, like Kelly's one of them. Matt Targett to some extent, making his first start in 14 months. The midfield of Lewis Miley, surprised to see Joe Linton, but Lewis Miley, Sean Longstaff, the two in there. And then the front three of Almiron, Osula and Harvey Barnes, and I thought probably the only person that would come out that first half with any real credit was probably Lewis Miley, and he was actually at fault for the first goal. Not at fault, but he was very, very weak for the first goal, but then made amends with an absolute raker. So yeah, in the first half, I thought Lewis Miley was a standout. A lot of players failed to grasp the opportunity, so much so that Eddie Howe felt the need, or was sort of forced, to turn to his bench, bring on Anthony Gordon in place of Harvey Barnes, who picked up a muscular problem, and Bruno Guimaraes came on for Joe Linton, and that was the plan, start the game. But then once them two came on, it was, I would say it was probably easy work in the second half. It was a penalty that was a penalty. Matt Targett, which I think actually had a really good game today, won the penalty. Anthony Gordon converts, and then Will Osula with an unbelievable strike, a left-footed strike, and 3-1 by the hour mark, and it was comfortable by then. Bromley ran out of steam. Yeah, I would say, but
just fitness levels to the game, wasn't it? That's all it was.
But yeah, that's a summary of the game. I thought it was a really disappointing first half, and then after the break, being able to bring on Gordon and Bruno just put the game in Newcastle's favour.
Yeah, it was a sort of typical early FA Cup round game where survived an early scare. I think Lewis Miley's goal came at a great time, where within 10 minutes of going behind, Newcastle were already level, and then didn't really look back from there. I think at 1-0, Bromley had another good chance to make it 2-0. And after Lloyd Kelly gave the ball away cheaply in the middle of the park, and that could have made things quite hairy for Newcastle indeed. But fair play, a lot of Bromley fans filled the majority of the level 7 of the Leazes stand today, and a sellout St James's Park, which you don't always get in the North East for third round FA Cup ties, but no doubt when Newcastle United are playing, it's a sellout. So yeah, great to see, and yeah, at least the fans had something to cheer, the Bromley fans and then also the Newcastle fans as well. Lewis Miley only his second goal from the club, but no real celebration from him, showing that winner's mentality. He had a little fist pump, but then back to the halfway line, and Newcastle didn't look back from there. But Lewis Miley, I think in particular, showing at 18 years old just how high quality a player he is. He was in that number 6 role, and I think in the first half, like you say, when Newcastle largely struggled to break Bromley down, everything was going through Lewis Miley, where he was trying to make things happen. You said at one point he's the only player who looks like he can pick out a pass, which, I mean, is probably an insult to a lot of the players who were on the pitch, but that was just a fact in the first half, where you had too many players going through the motions, being a bit passive. Lewis Miley was actually trying to give the ball and pick out his players and forward passes through balls and things like that. And one thing I would say about Lewis Miley, like you say, for Bromley's opening goal, he was very strong on the ball in the first half, a little bit weak off the ball. But that's what you're going to get. He's still a player, very much learning his game, 18 years old, but first start since last February, and back with a bang. And then you go on, the other changes to the side. You mentioned Matt Targett. I thought Matt Targett had a very good game, 2 assists.
He was my man of the match by me ratings.
Was he?
Yeah, I'll give Matt Targett a 7.5.
Because Lewis Miley, as good as he was in the first half, he did fade slightly when Bruno obviously came on and took command in the midfield, and Matt Targett did tire as well and was eventually brought off by Eddie Howe. But Targett, he assisted Lewis Miley for his opening goal. I mean, Lewis Miley still had a lot to do, but did it, and then won the penalty that ultimately gave Newcastle the lead. Anthony Gordon coming on. I thought it was a shame Will Osula didn't get to take that, but maybe that sparked him to charge down that right wing, cut inside onto his left foot and lash in an absolute raker to make it 3-1. So good to see Will Osula get his chance and get his goal, because I mean it's 2 starts this season for him, both against League 2 opposition, teams who Eddie Howe said they play 5 at the back, very contained and try to frustrate you and give you very little space, which doesn't lend itself to Will Osula's strengths really, which is pace in behind, breaking through. And he almost had a chance just before Lewis Miley's goal, his equaliser, after being played through by the 18-year-old, but didn't come, and then ultimately led to Newcastle's goal. But what a goal for Will Osula.
Yeah. Incredible goal. He's a right footer as well, so I mean, you see with footballers that most of them can kick with both feet. I can't personally. More of a lefty. I can't pass me right, but I can't.
It's well documented our left-footedness on this channel.
Yeah,
in
if Liam was here, he would make it. He would make that.
Yeah,
note.
He'll probably be screaming watching this, going, "You've been very modest in saying you don't have a right foot." If you don't have a right foot, I definitely don't have a right foot.
Yeah.
0-star weak foot if you're playing FIFA.
Well, Will Osula was a 5-star weak foot.
Yes.
No, it was some strike, to be fair.
Keeper could have done better.
It was just there was just so much power in it. That was the problem.
It's too quick.
But I mean, it was probably one that you feel like. I mean, he definitely did deserve it, particularly because of his hard work behind the scenes, which Eddie Howe made clear in Friday's press conference. And I asked about Will Osula. Said he's looked sharp, put in a lot of work. Coaches have as well in Will Osula, because you can see why they signed him. What, like, the raw abilities he have. You mentioned there, quick, tall,
good finisher, Eddie Howe.
Good, well, he's quite powerful as well when he gets going.
Yeah.
So for him to get that goal today, I mean, I think you could tell by his celebration. I think that meant a lot to him. It's 21, going on 22. I think he hasn't scored a lot of goals in his career.
No, he's got a point to prove as well.
Yeah, I mean, is there a bit of frustration there with Osula? I think probably not. But you look at this Christmas period where you would expect to have seen more of him because of Callum Wilson's absence, but it hasn't played out that way. And that's no criticism of Eddie Howe. Again, he sees a player every single day. He knows where he's at in his development. But maybe from the player's point of view, he's sitting on the bench going, well, actually, I feel like I can come on the game and impact things. Yeah, and he hasn't turned to him. But today he got an opportunity, and with a goal like that, then you have to say he's probably taken it. But when Alexander Isak is fit and firing, unfortunately, Will Osula doesn't get anywhere near Newcastle United start 11. And that's most strikers in the world don't get anywhere near.
No,
Newcastle start 11 when Alexander Isak's in. But hopefully that's a big confidence booster for him.
It's nice to see him kiss the badge as well. Show
Did
a
he
bit
kiss
of
the
passion.
badge?
Yeah,
Oh,
he kissed the badge.
I didn't see that bit.
Well, he loves the tune.
Just get him to start him. Start him.
Loves the tune. But you talk about players taking the chances and things like that. And look, Newcastle got through. They beat Bromley 3-1. We're very happy. But in the sort of essence of providing a whole summary of the game, there were players who didn't take their chances.
Yeah. I mean, the first half, as I said, I think the only person I could ever pick out was Lewis Miley. Our first half, I thought everyone was quite poor, and I include Fabian Schär and Joe Linton in that as well. But you've got players. I'm just going. The main one I want to see more of today, and I'll just say I thought Harvey Barnes. I want to see a lot more from him. And with the caveat,
he seemed to be the main man.
Yeah.
Like in terms of an attacking threat, when you saw that starting 11, you thought Harvey Barnes should have a good run at it today.
The caveat is that he picked up a muscle injury and had to go off at half time. But in his 45 minutes, I thought it was really disappointing. He is sort of the focal point, if you like, of that attack. You know, we mentioned with Osula, but Harvey Barnes is a player you look at and go, well, actually he's probably got arguments to say that he's unlucky not to be in the team this season.
No, he's scored goals, hasn't he?
Well, he scored goals.
Until today, he'd scored the same amount as Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, statistically he's had a good season, scored goals, but hasn't been in the team. And even though it's Bromley at St James Park, you've still got to show something, and I don't think he showed that. So obviously he came off at half time, injured, and yeah, I mean, game's coming up, but I don't think he's done much to change Eddie Howe's mind. But again, it's really difficult because Anthony Gordon on form is obviously a much better player, let's be honest, in my opinion.
He's a more well-rounded player.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
But I don't want to just pick out Harvey Barnes, I think even if you go into the midfield, or exactly staying with the attack versus Miguel Almiron, who for me now just looks like a player that's ship sailed.
Yeah.
If I'm being brutally honest,
there's no confidence there from Miguel Almiron, unfortunately.
There's a lot of hard work he grafts. I can't fault his effort. There was times today when he tracked back, and there was an instance in the second half when he chased the winger back and won the ball, and I think he won a throw-in. So none of that's undoubted. He's a real hard worker, and you'll get 110% from Miggy when he plays. But it's just that he's just lacks so much quality in that final third. It hasn't fell from there for a while. There wasn't anything there really today in terms of final product.
Yeah, for me it's just conviction. It's like he's getting the ball in good areas and then just not finding the pass and not getting a shot away. And if you're doing neither, what are you doing on that right hand side? And it was just a really frustrating. I said in my half-time player ratings on the Shields, because I thought Miguel Almiron was the standout, probably least effective player on the pitch, considering how many touches he had, the areas he got in, and what he did with it. He kept giving the ball away. He kept not finding Kieran Trippier, who was on the overlap, or he just wasn't getting a shot away. He kept trying to cut inside, but then nothing was happening, and I think so many attacks ended through Miguel Almiron. He did improve in the second half when the game opened up. Bromley tired a little bit, did improve slightly, but yeah, that's a player who against League 2 opposition did not take his chance. Where if you go back in previous games, I think you go back to Nottingham Forest and maybe Wimbledon, his previous starts, he's actually done okay. I thought today he didn't take his chance at all. I thought Sean Longstaff possibly falls into that category slightly, though did improve quite a bit once Bruno came on and Newcastle controlled the game. It was just one of those where it was just going through the motions a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I stand by it. I think Miguel Almiron, and probably a mental thing for him is, I think, given the links, the transfer links he's had away from this football club for over 12 months now, it must have some impact, and I think he looks like a player who feels that. Eddie Howe can sit there in press conference, he's an important member of the squad, but he's not getting game time, and I think when he's having to come into the team and show what he can do, he's not able to show it, and for me that just feels like a player that's reached the end of the line. I know that's really strong, but as the minutes would suggest, he's not playing a lot of football, and when he's playing, he's not exactly setting the world alight. So I still think there's a purpose for Miggy in the squad, bringing him on in games like he had this week still with Osula. Comes on, runs around a lot, and gives you hard work, but he's not that assist maker, a goal scorer, and you need more from a winger. And he was that. He had a purple patch, but beyond that purple patch, it's largely for his Newcastle United. His time at Newcastle United, he struggled to create goals and score goals.
I think if Miguel Almiron left this time last year, he'd be a player remembered fondly, and history would reflect very well.
I still think it probably does.
It does, but because of his highlights, he scored in the Champions League. He scored that first goal back in the Champions League. He had that great run, scored quite a lot of goals. I think it was 10, 11 goals in that Champions League qualification season. And yeah, history will reflect kindly on players like Miguel Almiron, but you do, when we're talking about just overstaying your welcome a little bit, and Miguel Almiron, I think, is getting towards that, because a deal was on the table last January, offers in the summer, and for whatever reason, various reasons, that hasn't materialised, and you're just seeing at the moment it's a problem area, the right wing position. It has been for a long time. Newcastle have two players natural, I suppose, on that right wing. Jacob Murphy and Miguel Almiron are just going like that, like opposite directions.
Oh, yeah,
Jacob Murphy has gone like that, Miguel Almiron's gone like that, and I think a big part of it is confidence. I think the two players who rely a lot on confidence, and Jacob Murphy, perfect example. He's playing with confidence, he's getting goals, he's getting assists. Jacob Murphy, I reckon this season is probably matching Miguel Almiron for assists in his Newcastle career, because Miguel Almiron naturally is a left-footed player on the right, just doesn't get assists.
Yeah, I think it's quite sad that we're talking about Almiron, and saying that it feels like the end. But that's how I feel about it. I mean, they're probably a Jacob Murphy injury away from actually needing him.
Yeah.
But
or do you put Harvey Barnes and Gordon again?
But it's Yeah, it's a real sad one for Almiron, I think, because I do think he just looks like a player that's reached the end of the road. And that might still happen this month. He may indeed still go this month. And if there's an offer there for him to go in the financial right, then I think it makes absolute sense, not just for the club as well, but I think for him. Because he has. I mean, we're talking about good servants. It seems like a bit of a buzzword, but he has been a good servant. That's a really.
There's a reason players are still around, and it's
Yeah.
because they have been good servants.
Yeah.
But there are levels to this game, and there's a direction Newcastle are heading in, or trying to head in. And when you've got a sort of so many players of a certain level in the squad that are just sort of on borrowed time a little bit. It sounds really harsh to say, but that's when, as Eddie Howe's put it previously, the squad starts to stagnate a little bit. And look, it's 8 wins in a row. Newcastle are going very, very well. Let's take nothing away. The starting 11 is very, very strong at the moment. Midfield is one of the best in the country. They've got Lewis Hall, one of the best left backs in the country. Alexander Isak, one of the best strikers in the world. There's a lot to be positive about, but what today showed a little bit is scratch the surface, and the levels do drop quite a bit.
It's not just today, I would say, though. I mean, they've played against a League Two club in the the Carabao Cup, and I think we're probably having the same conversations after that Wimbledon game as well. I mean, maybe it's a sort of mentality thing, isn't it, where you probably as a player subconsciously think, well, the only thing I have to do is turn up today.
Yeah. And that's what Newcastle did.
But that's not the right mentality when you're pushing to get in the team.
No.
And there was a lot of players in that start 11 today who's pushing to get in the team.
It's happened a few times.
Let's just go for Lloyd Kelly pushing to get in the team. I actually thought he finished the game strongly, but for the opening, certainly for the opening half, he pretty much gifted Wimbledon a chance, so it could have made it 2-0. Sean Longstaff, a player fighting to get in the team, struggled today. I think they've gotten a lot in the good positions, but just lacked that final ball or conviction, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, it's hard for players like Longstaff and Almiron, where I think when they're on the ball, they can almost feel the crowd almost waiting to groan.
The crowd always ready to go to attack Longstaff, and I don't like that. But we criticised for defending Longstaff on this channel, but I don't like that at all. But again, in many ways, you've sort of got to prove people wrong, if you like, and if there's people doubting you, then prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And look, I didn't think he was the worst player on the pitch today, if I'm being
Sean
honest.
Longstaff was decent in the second half.
He was
just
steady,
the first half was difficult for him.
But I do think if you're judging it based on grasping opportunities, has he grasped his opportunity?
No,
probably not. But
hard to win that.
Who in that game has grasped the opportunity? I would say maybe Lewis Miley, but then you've got Sandro Tonali ahead of you, which again is Sandro Tonali is an unbelievable form. So Lewis Miley isn't going to get ahead of Sandro Tonali, but what it does show is Lewis Miley is probably ready to step in if they need someone in that area. But aside from that,
Matt Targett, I thought he did as well as can be expected from
really good
from Matt Targett.
But again, you've got Lewis Hall. It's one of them, isn't it? Where
Lewis
the
Hall,
ones that probably did grasp the opportunity, you've got players in better positions.
Dan Burn, Lloyd Kelly, Tino Livramento, Kieran Trippier ahead of Matt Targett before he probably starts a Premier League game.
Yeah,
you're probably saying, and Eddie Howe's shown previously he's willing to move players out of position ahead of Matt Targett in terms of left back.
Yeah.
So I thought he did well today. I also asked Eddie Howe, could Matt Targett leave? He said he doesn't really want to talk about it, though didn't shut it down completely. I think he's one player where you're looking at the squad, the age and profile of him, what Newcastle paid for him, the amount of minutes he's got, and also the salary he's on. He's a player who, if an offer of any sort comes in this month, you probably have to listen to it as well.
Yeah, big earner, and then probably you've got players on that left-hand side where you've got your Dan Burns and Lloyd Kellys, and although they are probably recognised centre-halves, have played at left-back.
Kieran Trippier,
obviously.
England international left-back.
So I think, if there's an offer for him, you mentioned there about his game time, it was his first start in 14 months today.
Yeah. Before that, he wasn't exactly a regular.
He was because he got illness midway at the start of the Champions League qualification season. Dan Burns, he came in at left back, and he comes back, and then Lewis Hall is the best left back in the country on current form. So I thought he was really good today. But I mean, you'll probably look at players grasping opportunities, even the ones that did probably still face a battle to get in the team because
team are doing so well.
Yeah, but I thought that first half was really, really disappointing, and then Bruno and Anthony Gordon just lifted the levels in the second half. Yeah, as expected. I mean that's not any rocket science. Great analysis. It's when you bring those two players on, their quality, then naturally it raises the levels. And I think that, albeit Newcastle weren't, I don't think it was the fluent best in the second half,
No.
but they did enough to comfortably win the game.
Yeah, without really breaking the sweat.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was job done. Another case of job done from Newcastle United after a shaky first 10 minutes. Other than that, they were largely okay. But yeah, Andy Woodman said it was a compliment the fact they brought the likes of Bruno and Anthony Gordon on.
100%.
It was good to speak to him. He was in good form after the game. The Bromley boss, the former Newcastle United goalkeeping coach, says he loves it up here, wants Newcastle to win, and hopes he has played some small role in Newcastle winning the FA Cup this season. But obviously, Carabao Cup maybe takes a little bit of priority at the moment. But Birmingham City in the next round, that's another one.
What do you know the date for that? I'm not putting on the spot here. I don't. When is it?
No.
No, okay, right. You usually know these things, sorry.
No, sorry, I've not researched.
I'm presuming it's sometime in February. Yeah. Anyway. So, no, it's a bit of a tricky one. That I thought I was saying you would take the second Wrexham in League One, of the American owners, and Tom Brady links and all that. So they'll be fired up for it. That'll probably be a TV tie, I'd imagine. The American glamour story versus
Dan Burn back at his former club.
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah. Oh, big day for Dan Burn.
Get Lee Clark on the phone.
Aye, yeah, two former clubs. Yeah.
See, another more connections there in terms of Bromley today and then Birmingham next month whenever they play. So yeah, interesting tie. New ground for us because Birmingham haven't been in the Premier League in a long time. So yeah, that should be an interesting one. But another player who we'll get on to, because we always get on to him this month. He was just behind us actually before when we started this video.
I thought you were going to introduce it because he was still standing behind us when we
No,
started.
it wasn't the place to start the video. But Martin Dubravka, another start, his 9th start of the season, Newcastle's 9th win.
Aye. 8 in a row.
8 in a row. Didn't get a clean sheet today. Probably could have done better for the goal maybe. Did just bounce before him. But serenaded once again by the Newcastle fans. He did applaud and then they said, Martin Dubravka, we want you to stay. And Eddie Howe was asked about that after the game and whether Martin Dubravka would stay. You asked him about that.
No, I got there in the end.
So yeah, just shed some light on that, please.
I mean, the feeling is for me is that it's more likely that he'll stay than not, and I think we started
the way Eddie Howe's speaking is certainly been
we got that feeling on Friday and we done a video and we spoke about Eddie Howe mentioning him staying on several occasions, and for me that was quite telling. And today I don't think he really added anything new, but I think Martin Dubravka being in the team today is another signal of intent to keep him. The player, I think, clearly is coming round the idea of staying. I think the last 2 games, with the love he's had from the fans, I would think would probably influence his decision a little bit.
It's a tentative situation though, because Nick Pope is maybe a week away from returning from injury,
but Dubravka stays in the team. That's how I would say.
For now, yeah. But it's just Martin Dubravka doesn't want to be in 2 weeks' time. God, I could have been in the sunny Saudi Arabian weather, earning silly money and having his future secured, and now he's sitting on the bench for Newcastle. That's what Martin Dubravka doesn't want. And Eddie Howe, he hasn't gone into too much detail on it, but he's spoken about getting a deal agreed with Martin Dubravka. Maybe he'll sign a new contract.
Yeah, that's what I asked. I was like, he's talking about an agreement. Yeah. So what is the agreement? Is it a new contract? Is it incentives to say, well, you know, if you stay, we'll play in the Carabao Cup final, for example, if they get there. But no, he mentioned the prospect of new contract. He said potentially, but he didn't confirm. So he's still sort of dancing around it. If you like, I think the way I picked it up is because Eddie Howe mentioned about no major announcement.
Exactly.
So for me, that just sounds like they'll keep the player, no contract renewal, and then maybe there'll be an increased salary or a bonus, whatever. I think that's maybe how they might do it to compensate. Albeit he's under contract at Newcastle, so Newcastle can turn and go, no, you're not going to Saudi, but there's a lucrative deal on the table, so you might get an increased salary to compensate for the loss of funds, a loss of salary you would have got if you had went to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Nice pay rise.
Yeah, essentially,
we'll
that's
see.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Possibly, but for an agreement, it has to be something. If Newcastle spoke respecting the players' wishes, so clearly they feel they need to reward the player in some kind of way. as I say, they could just go, nope, you're under contract for another 6 months, you're staying and you're not getting nothing. But I think
it's a disrespect to a player who, we're talking about good servants, definitely has been a
Yes.
good servant to Newcastle United. And what's it, 7 years at the club now? Yeah, 7 years at the club now. He's made 170 odd, 180 odd appearances. Generally, bar maybe last season where his form was in and out, generally being an excellent goalkeeper for the football club. He's Newcastle, whether it's a coincidence or not, but Eddie Howe certainly doesn't think so, has played a big role in Newcastle's turnaround in form. I think always gets pointed to his distribution being very good, and I think when, like you've just said, if Nick Pope comes back from injury, he doesn't walk back into the team. And he didn't quite last season. He came back from injury. He was on the bench against the likes of Manchester United, Burnley, but then came back for the final day. I think Martin Dubravka, it would take basically a defeat for Newcastle for Martin Dubravka to drop out the team, and potentially a bad one.
I think the way Eddie Howe's mentioned his distribution on several occasions, for me, makes it feel like that the club recognise that having a goalkeeper that can actually distribute the ball makes them a better team, especially when they're on the front foot. Yeah. It's a strange one because Nick Pope for me is a better shot stopper. And albeit I think he's probably regressed since our season, is still one of the best shot stoppers in the league, but then doesn't have the ability to kick the ball over the first man and hit and find the fullback.
We haven't seen Nick Pope in a while, and we've said this in several videos that Nick Pope cannot distribute the ball. Are we being overly harsh on Nick Pope, or is it just the reality?
Look, Nick Pope might come back in and he might be able to do it, because I've always said I don't think Nick Pope was ever as nervy on the ball until that Liverpool defeat when he got sent off. He was always someone that wasn't the greatest at his feet, but didn't look anywhere near as nervy. And all of a sudden from then it's like a feeling within the stadium, isn't it? We all feel it when he's on the ball, and then there's a opposition striker pressing him. It feels like he's panicking a little bit, whereas Dubravka hasn't looked like that at all. He's sort of like oozed confidence in many ways. So I think bringing Pope back in potentially changes the way they play. But look, maybe we are being harsh on Nick Pope. Maybe Nick Pope.
We need a Nick Pope distribution refresher.
Distribution
or maybe we don't actually. But yeah, there's been some games where you look back and it's just like, Nick Pope out for a throw, and it became a bit of a running theme, didn't it? But Martin Dubravka has been a breath of fresh air in the side largely since he's returned to it, so it looks like that's going to remain to be the case.
I thought it was quite interesting. I didn't play with Lacademos today as well. I thought he was a
shoo-in.
Yeah, I did, because we thought that's again another one. All the speculation surrounding Martin Dubravka's future. If you think there's potential for Martin Dubravka to go, you need to get what would be your second choice goalkeeper games.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So for me, that was a telling point. I was surprised not to see him, but it just shows that it's Nick Pope and Martin Dubravka, and anything else below that is almost like
3 more. John Ruddy was here today.
Yeah,
but didn't get a look in. One player who was here today and got on the pitch for his senior competitive debut, Trevin Sanusi.
Yes.
We saw a lot of him in pre-season. We liked what we saw in pre-season. He comes on today, different sort of test, competitive game. Newcastle 3-1 up. A nice game to come on to in a lot of ways. What did you make of his performance? I thought 17-year-old.
I thought he had a go. I don't think he lacks confidence, does he? He clearly wants to come out and impress and catch.
Wants to beat a man.
And you could see that there was lots of willingness there from him. I thought you made an interesting point during the game actually, as Trevin Sanusi almost looks better in a first team situation. Which
it's because I think he is so raw, and if you look at his sort of output at under 21s level, at first team level to a degree, although he's played not a lot of games and most of them have been friendlies, but then even at under 18s level, his output in terms of goals and assists isn't great, but he is a player who can beat a man and unlock a door, and he rides tackles well, as Eddie Howe put it, and he is an exciting player to watch, and he can really sort of create chaos in the defence for opposition defences, which lends itself well. But Eddie Howe pointed to it, he is a player at 17, hopefully it'll come, needs to get more physical.
He looks like a Ben, to be fair. Yeah. We've spoken before and up close, he is literally a Ben.
Yeah. But then also has to improve his end product. And at first team level, that's a huge ask, but he has to do that for the 21s. He has to be getting regular goals, assists. It can't just be fancy runs and powerful sort of cutting inside and looking good. I think he certainly passes the eye test, as we put it, for a 17-year-old in that context. But in terms of making that step up to being in and around the first team, and rather than just getting thrown in like he has been today, needs to start producing regular goals, regular assists at under 21s level, or even under 18s level if he gets that opportunity.
Yeah, they clearly rate him, don't they? And it's no coincidence that they play him a lot in pre-season and they've given opportunity today, so they clearly see a lot in him, but it's like refinement in it, where you've still got lots of room to develop. You look at Lewis Miley from last year. Lewis Miley, in terms of his physical shape, is bulked up massively.
Lewis
Miley looked like a bear last year. Now he looks like a pro.
So yeah, really encouraging performance from Trevoh Sanusi on the bench. Obviously Lewis Miley as well, another teenager really impressing and grasping his opportunity. But on that note, Jordan, we've got the sponsors.
Yeah.
Mitigate sponsor every Geordie Journals video. Take it away, Jordan.
Mitigate enhances workplace mental health, helping businesses stay compliant, reduce absences and unlock higher productivity, creating healthier, happier teams.
And of course, Four Rivers Financial Planning.
Four Rivers Financial Planning offers holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world that we live in.
Yes, future-proof yourself with Four Rivers Financial Planning. Links to Four Rivers and Mitigate in the description. There's also the Geordie Journals shop, which if you want to buy a nice t-shirt, what else is there? There's mugs. There's everything you could ever want.
Sort of.
Well,
if there's anything
try.
you want, you can request.
Yeah, let us know. Yeah. Let us know. And Christmas is over now, so if you've got any Christmas money you want to spend, Geordie Journals shop is the place to go. It's in the description. But yeah, if you like what we do and want to see more, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the bell for all your Geordie Journals content. There'll be an Eddie Howe press conference on Tuesday. We'll wait and see if both of us are at that. But it may be a solo video from one of us. We'll wait and see. But we will be back here at St James's Park, second of 3 games in the space of 6 days for Newcastle United against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Newcastle looking to make it 9 wins in a row. When was the last time Newcastle United did that? Let us know in the description and we will give a shout out to anyone who gets that right.
Yeah.
Because that is...
Google's a wonderful thing. Have a look.
Try not to use Google if you can. But yeah, we'll be back. Is Liam back in that game? Getting the call up?
Yeah.
So we'll be back as a threesome at St James's Park on Wednesday night. So please join us there and thank you for watching.